ever wanted to find your thing to do in the world? Or maybe you've already found it and you want to do more of your thing and do it with all your heart. Your thing may feel like a big thing. It may feel like a little thing. It may be a host of things for all you wonderfully multi-passionate women out there. What's important is that you find your thing, the thing that's uniquely yours to do in life. So maybe drop a hello or a yes in the chat if you're here and if you'd love to find your thing. Or if you found it and you want to do more of your thing, drop another yes in the chat. Because if you're anything like me, there have been times in your life, maybe whole swathes of time, when you've held yourself back from doing the thing you know is yours to do. Not the ought to do, not the meant should do, or the might do. It's that real meant to do. You're here for a reason. And when you're not doing your thing, life can feel very flat, very dry. A client described it to me as seeing the ocean stretching in all directions, but there's not a ripple, not a wave, no land, nothing to break the monotony, nothing moving. She was just slowly drifting through her life. And she was drifting in her marriage too. She'd really lost her spark and didn't know how to find it. So drop drift in the chat if that resonates with you or anyone you know. Or maybe it feels more like struggle. Perhaps you don't have the energy you once had. You're tired, you're overwhelmed, maybe your batteries are running low. Perhaps your spiritual life feels a little dry. Or maybe your relationship's dragging you down. Perhaps you're even trapped by a level of success that you feel you have to sustain, but it's not quite you. Maybe you feel like you're living someone else's dream. If any of this resonates, then I think this is going to be useful. So grab a journal, grab a pen, and settle in, because I'm going to ask you some questions in a few moments. Because what if you weren't drifting? What if you weren't struggling? What if you weren't trapped, but you were completely free to follow that inner spark, the thing that lights up your heart? What if you were able to feel awe and wonder and that real sense of possibility every day? That sense of purpose. What if life felt rich with meaning, with aliveness? What if doing your unique thing, following your joy, made this world a better place? Because life loves to be lived with joy. So drop a yes in the chat if you'd like to know how to go from drifting to flowing, from confused to clear, from stuck to sailing, from trapped to unlocked and alive. And put a yes in the chat if you'd like to learn my simple way of liberating ourselves so that daily we can stop living in the half light of a half-lived life and become fully alive, radiant, soulful, fully you. Because the tool I want to share with you could help you find and feel more of your life with your unique thing. I'm Cathy Garner. I'm the relationship artist, I'm a vision coach, and I help people to fall back in love with their lives, with their vision, with each other. And I love that we all have an inner joy compass that's with us wherever we go. But so often we get cut off from it. I was cut off. I've been cut off many times. And I remember distinctly standing in a room full of university research leaders. I was running a session on team building and motivation. And I suddenly had this almost out of body experience where I drifted off up from my body and was looking down at myself. I could see my words coming from a little way in front of me, about a foot in front of my body. And there was nothing wrong particularly with what I was saying. It was well researched, except that anyone could have said it. And it wasn't coming from my heart. I wanted to do what was uniquely mine. Have you ever wanted to leave a perfectly good job without knowing what's next? Drop a yes in the chat, because my dad said, "What about your pension?" I was 30. My career was going from strength to strength. I was in leadership development at one of the top UK universities. Was I crazy? I left the job in 2005 and I stepped out with the motto, earn less, live more. I rented out my cottage. I began to travel the world and meet extraordinary women like Betty in Uganda, whose portrait I painted, this isn't the original, and who now runs a school keeping Ugandan girls in education instead of going into early motherhood and domesticity. And I met Mary in India, who taught me about campaigning. She said that to campaign successfully, you have to have no concept of failure. I took her mindset back home to my village. I got hundreds of people involved, and we successfully campaigned for multi-million-pound flood defences to stop the UK's most frequently flooded village from ever getting flooded again. In South Africa, I helped organise an astronomy festival, and I'm going back there in November to run a visioning retreat. So if you're interested, drop a retreat in the chat. I went into the Sahara Desert. I saw the Bedouin fires at night. It was just me, 2 camels, a Bedouin guide, and we sat around the fires under a canopy of stars. I traced Gandhi's footsteps across rural Gujarat in India on the 240-mile Salt March route. 600 peace pilgrims walking together for a month. And eventually, my joy compass led me to what I do now, coaching and creating vision portraits for the conscious women and sometimes their partners too who I work with, so that they can see their dreams looking back at them through their own eyes. I'll talk more about that in one of my other talks. So coaching, teaching, and portraits. This to me is pure joy. It's me being fully me, fully alive. So what's you being fully you? If you like, you can join me very soon in a new online visioning circle. I'd love you to be part of it. We're going to explore together and we can help you find your wonderful vision for life. So if you're curious, drop visioning in the chat and I'll let you know more. And in the meantime, I've got a free gift, a practical video series to help you rekindle your lost dreams. They're some of my favourite sessions, and you sit with me by the fireside as I ask questions and we do exercises so that you can find your spark, capture a glimpse of your vision, rekindle those lost dreams. So drop gift in the chat if you'd like it. But all this talk about joy, there are wars raging and there are so many people suffering at the moment. Doesn't it sound a little bit frivolous? I believe that when evil seems to be flourishing, it's even more important for us to follow our light, to learn to love well, to recognise in ourselves a microcosm of the macrocosm. Is there peace in my heart? Let's cultivate it here. Let's grieve with those who grieve. Let's find a stronger, deeper place within ourselves from which to live, because joy is not frivolous. We don't want to contribute to the suffering. We want to shine a light. Following your joy is not selfish. Dr. Pamela King, one of the world's leading researchers on human thriving, says, joy activates us. when the world is suffering, we need to be able to hone our centres of joy, to keep going, to enable us to be purposeful. Joy is not pleasure. It's not a treat. It's not even a reward. Joy is the thing that keeps you purposeful, that keeps you contributing, that keeps you showing up for what matters most. So, joy isn't frivolous as long as we don't muddle it up with its two closest neighbours, pleasure and happiness. Pleasure lives on the physical level. It's a neurochemical response, that dopamine spike we get when we buy something gorgeous, or we eat something delicious, or find something funny, or drink, or get high. Pleasure can be wonderful, or it can be destructive. It's like a match. The flare is thrilling. It's bright, it's sparky, but within seconds it goes out. So drop a fire emoji in the chat if you've ever enjoyed a pleasure that's left you feeling just a little bit empty, not fulfilled. And happiness isn't joy either. It lives more on a mental level. When we achieve something, when we find that our circumstances align with what we'd really like, when things work out well, the sun shines for you on your holiday, you're happy, and that's beautiful. But notice, how quickly does that fade? How quickly does it wane or even tip over into dissatisfaction? Happiness is more like a candle. When it's lit in a darkened room, it's beautiful, but blow it out and the darkness feels darker than ever. So if pleasure is a match and happiness is a candle, joy is like a brightly lit room, solar lit. You can still strike a match, you can have some fun, you can light candles, enjoy them, but when the match snuffs out, when the candle burns down, the light remains steady. So even when there's pain, when there's sorrow, when there's suffering in your life, if you've cultivated joy, you won't fall into despair. You may cry. You may feel the loss and the grief deeply, but you don't have to lose your joy. You don't have to give up hope, because joy can be your companion. Joy is a state of being, and it's stronger than any circumstance. So drop a star emoji in the chat if you've experienced that glimmer of joy, even in the midst of something really hard. Joy is wonderful, but if it's so wonderful, what gets in the way of us following it? Why don't we trust it? Is it because we trust in the surface level parts of us? We rely more on logical decision making for our safety? Is it about sensible ambition? Going out of our way to please people, to meet their expectations? Maybe it's fear holding us back. Who wants to look crazy? Or maybe it's habits that steal our hours, our days, as we scroll away our lives. Or maybe we're frozen in pain. We've had heartbreak. We've had tough relationship situations. We've been wounded by people we trusted. Are we holding on to that hurt? Or are we seeking to melt it? There are many wonderful, wise, healing women in this group. Find one. So let's take a breath. Go inside, and if you wish, just close your eyes and imagine light coming down, flowing down through your crown, through the middle of your forehead, to your throat, to your heart, to your solar plexus and your sacrum just below your navel, all the way down to the base of your spine, to your root. And with the next gentle, deep breath, allow your attention to follow that line of light flowing down as you relax and feel yourself rooted and stable and strong and balanced. And from this place, pick up your journal and let's play with the idea that following your joy compass could actually be more fun than fun. Following your joy compass could beat any sugary scrolling dopamine high. I see this with my children when they're doing the crochet or they're making films. Rather than scrolling, they feel the satisfaction, they feel the joy, because those things are who they truly are. They're their thing to do in the world. And what if joy actually could keep you safer than other people's sensible advice? What if it could build great habits? What if it could help you gain confidence, even help you heal? So take a few moments to journal on these questions. What joy compass glimmers are you aware of in your life? What nudges from your soul have you been ignoring? What's always lit you up? What wakes you up? What gets you up with a spring in your step? And you can pause. That's the great thing about being in an online conference. You can pause, and I'll still be here when you get back. So just complete the sentences in your journal. The glimmer I can follow today is, the nudges I've been ignoring are the things that really light me up. I wake up for... I love this last question. I remember completing it myself about 20 years ago, and I remember the phrase now. I wake up for adventure that deepens connection and creates more love and joy in the world. That's how I try and live. That's my mantra for being, my spark that gets me up in the morning. So your joy, your glimmer, your golden thread of purpose. It's not going to be new, it's not going to be unfamiliar, it's always been with you. But your joy compass won't hand you a map all the way from here to your happily ever island. It's just going to nudge you to take the next step. And you may not always be perfectly on course, and that's fine. Because how often is a ship, when it's sailing directly to its destination, it tacks. So what is the next step? Perhaps it's watching a beautiful sunset as I did just now. Perhaps it's accepting the gift that I'm offering, or joining the Joy Compass Circle next month, or coming on retreat with me to South Africa. Because it's not just a beautiful idea. Following your joy compass is a life-giving daily practice, and it's very simple. Step 1, notice the glimmer, the inner nudge, the whisper, the prompting. Calibrate so that you know what it feels like. The fear mixed with excitement, like the glimmer that prompted me to become a sponsor and a speaker here at this wonderful festival of women's wisdom. What's your glimmer asking of you? Step 2, follow the glimmer, whether it seems reasonable or crazy or pointless. You don't have to change your whole life in a day. You don't have to quit your job or fly to Florence or Tamil Nadu. Now that I've got family responsibilities, my joy compass often guides me to do the simplest of things, to have an adventure of uninterrupted reflection, to find a different cafe to sit and work at, to have a conversation with a stranger, to hang the laundry with joy and acceptance, or to take myself away for a few days on a joy compass adventure. Just take the very next step that feels aligned, even if you have no idea where it may be leading. Step 3, follow your joy compass every day. Because as you follow the glimmers, they grow and your whole world becomes full of light. So you can see everything more clearly. And when you follow your joy compass, you give everyone around you permission to follow theirs. Your joy and aliveness are contagious. When one woman creates a field of intention, it's magnetic. Your individual journey is never only about you. So drop joy in the chat if you want to follow your joy compass every day. That client I told you about earlier who was drifting, she stepped back into her marriage with so much love. Her husband texted me saying, "We are categorically happier now than we have ever been. This is better than years of therapy." So the video course I want to gift you contains some of those exercises she used. So drop gift in the chat if you want to glimpse your vision. And let me leave you with one final reflection. And if you wish, close your eyes and just imagine. Imagine you're almost 100 years old. You've led a meaningful, healthy, joy-filled life. You're at peace. And as you look back over the years of your life, you ask yourself, which choices am I proud that I had the courage to make? Which glimmers am I glad I noticed? Which doors am I glad that I walked through? Which sparks am I grateful that I followed even when they seemed completely impractical, even when I couldn't yet see the whole path? So thank you for being present today. I hope it's been fun. Have fun following your joy compass and fall wildly in love with the aliveness of your precious life.